Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Tanvi Taneja, and with me is VC Pramod with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveils 9 national highway projects worth 14,000 crore rupees in Bihar. Says over 6 lakh villages will be connected by optic fibre network. Government committed for MSP to farmers, says Prime Minister. Takes opposition to task for misleading the country on farm bills. 8 Rajya Sabha MPs suspended for remaining part of monsoon session for their unruly behaviour in Parliament. India-China commander-level talks underway at Moldo in Chinese side of line of actual control. In Maharashtra, death toll in Vivandi building collapse rises to 10. President and Prime Minister express anguish at the loss of lives. COVID recovery rate crosses 80% in the country. And in tennis, Novak Djokovic to clash with Diego Schwartzman in men's final. Simona Halep to take on Karolina Pliskova in women's final of Italian Open. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today laid the foundation stone of 9 highway projects worth 14,258 crore rupees in Bihar through video conferencing. These highway projects involve a road length of about 350 kilometers at a cost of 4,258 crore rupees. Prominent road projects are 6-laning of 39-kilometer stretch of Patna Ring Road, 4-laning of Ara-Mohania section of NH30, Bakhtiarpur-Rajoli section of NH31, and 4-laning of Narayanpur-Purnia section of NH131A. Paving the way for development of Bihar, these roads will enhance better connectivity, convenience and economic growth in and around the state.
आज बिहार में नेशनल हाईवे ग्रिड को गति दी जा रही है। पूर्वी और पश्चिमी बिहार को जोड़ने के लिए 4 लेनिंग के 5 प्रोजेक्ट, उत्तरी भारत को दक्षिण भारत से जोड़ने के लिए 6 प्रोजेक्ट पर काम चल रहा है। आज भी जिन हाईवे चौड़ीकरण के प्रोजेक्ट का शिलान्यास किया गया है, उनसे बिहार के तमाम बड़े शहरों का सड़क संपर्क और मजबूत होने वाला है।
Movement of people and goods will also improve substantially, especially with the neighbouring states of Uttar Pradesh and Jharkhand. The Prime Minister also inaugurated the optical fibre internet services, where all the 45,945 villages of Bihar have been connected through optical fibre internet service. The Prime Minister said internet connectivity in villages will help in easy availability of digital services like e-education, e-agriculture, telemedicine, tele-law and other social security schemes to all citizens at the click of a button.
इस योजना के तहत 1000 दिनों में देश के 6 लाख गांवों को ऑप्टिकल फाइबर से जोड़ा जाएगा। मुझे विश्वास है कि नीतीश जी के सुशासन में दृढ़ निश्चय के साथ आगे बढ़ते बिहार में इस योजना पर भी तेजी से काम होगा।
Speaking on this occasion, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said Bihar will get a major boost in bridge sector with the inauguration of 3 mega bridges. With the completion of these projects, all rivers in Bihar will have bridges conforming to 21st century specifications and all major national highways will stand widened and strengthened.
पीएम पैकेज के तहत गंगा जी के ऊपर कुल 17 पुल बनाए जा रहे हैं और अभी सुशील जी ने बड़े विस्तार से उसका बड़ा खाका आपके सामने रखा और जिसमें से अधिकतर पूरे हो चुके हैं। इसी तरह गंडक और कोसी नदियों पर भी पुलों के निर्माण किया जा रहा है। इसी कड़ी में आज 4 लेन के 3 नए पुलों का शिलान्यास हुआ है। इसमें से 2 पुल गंगा जी पर और 1 पुल कोसी नदी पर बनने वाला है। इनके बनने पर गंगा जी और कोसी नदी पर 4 लेन के पुलों की क्षमता और बढ़ जाएगी।
The project would also entail implementation of one Wi-Fi and 5 free-of-cost connections to government institutions like primary schools, Anganwadi centres, Asha workers and Jivika Didi. Speaking on the occasion, the Prime Minister also urged the people of the country not to lower their guard in the fight against coronavirus and maintain precautions to prevent its spread.
इस साल कोरोना संक्रमण के दौरान भी रबी सीजन में किसानों से गेहूं की रिकॉर्ड खरीदी की गई है। इस साल रबी में गेहूं, धान, दलहन और तिलहन को मिलाकर किसानों को 1,13,000 करोड़ रुपए एमएसपी पर दिया गया है। ये राशि भी पिछले साल के मुकाबले 30% से ज्यादा है। यानी कोरोना काल में न सिर्फ रिकॉर्ड सरकारी खरीद हुई बल्कि किसानों को रिकॉर्ड भुगतान भी किया गया है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed the passage of the farm bills in Parliament, saying these bills will revolutionize the agriculture sector. The Prime Minister pointed out that the farming sector in India is in need of technological and structural upgrades, citing that the bills will pave way for farmers to increase their yields by using better tools. Prime Minister Modi assured India's farmers that the centre aims to serve the farmers and build a stronger agricultural industry for future generations. The Prime Minister said agriculture sector is in desperate need of the latest technology that assists the industrious farmers. Now, with the passage of the bills, our farmers will have easier access to futuristic technology that will boost production and yield better results. He also highlighted the need of removal of middlemen in the farming industry. He said that for many decades, farmers in India have been bullied by middlemen. The Prime Minister reiterated his assurance regarding the system of minimum selling price (MSP).
इतने बड़े व्यवस्था परिवर्तन के बाद कुछ लोगों को अपने हाथ से नियंत्रण जाता हुआ दिखाई दे रहा है। इसलिए अब ये लोग एमएसपी पर किसानों को गुमराह करने में जुटे हैं। ये वही लोग हैं जो बरसों तक एमएसपी पर स्वामीनाथन कमेटी की सिफारिशों को अपने पैरों के नीचे दबाकर बैठे रहे। मैं देश के प्रत्येक किसान को इस बात का भरोसा देता हूं कि एमएसपी की व्यवस्था जैसे पहले चलती आ रही थी वैसे ही चलती रहने वाली है। इसी तरह हर सीजन में सरकारी खरीद के लिए जिस तरह अभियान चलाया जाता है वो भी पहले की तरह चलते रहेंगे।
The Prime Minister also assured that the government procurement systems will continue unhindered and the passage of the bills do not affect them in any manner. He said purchase in mandis will continue.
कई जगह ये भी सवाल उठाया जा रहा है कि अब कृषि मंडियों का क्या होगा? क्या कृषि मंडियां बंद हो जाएगी? क्या वहां पर खरीद बंद हो जाएगी? जी नहीं, ऐसा कतई नहीं होगा। और मैं यहां स्पष्ट कर देना चाहता हूं कि ये कानून, ये बदलाव कृषि मंडियों के खिलाफ नहीं है। कृषि मंडियों में जैसे काम पहले होता था वैसे ही अब भी होगा। बल्कि ये हमारी ही एनडीए सरकार है जिसने देश की कृषि मंडियों को आधुनिक बनाने के लिए निरंतर काम किया है।
The Prime Minister said the bills are intended to transform the sector and empower farmers to lead a better life. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar thanked the Prime Minister for Agriculture Reform Bill. Mr. Kumar said this bill will be helpful for welfare of farmers. He said income of farmers will be enhanced after enactment of the Agriculture Bill. Chief Minister Mr. Kumar said vested interests of middlemen will be eliminated and farmers would be free from their clutches. Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said all Gram Panchayats in Bihar have been connected with high-speed broadband under BharatNet. Mr. Prasad said the next step will be extending the internet connectivity to the villages under Gram Panchayats. He said 4G will be made available in all villages of Bihar. Wi-Fi will also be installed at many places and people would be able to avail this facility from their homes. Union Minister Mr. Prasad said the common service centres are providing several digital services to the people of Bihar. At present, there are 28,003 common service centers providing digital facilities in Gram Panchayats of Bihar. Union Power Minister R.K. Singh said 70,000 crores will be invested in energy sector in Bihar. Mr. Singh said 34,000 crore has already been invested in the state during the last 5 years. He said electricity in all houses has been made available before the specified time. The Rajya Sabha was adjourned for the day today over opposition's protest against the suspension of 8 MPs on the issue of yesterday's ruckus during the passage of 2 farm bills. When the House reassembled at 12 noon after the 4th adjournment, opposition members from the Congress, the Left, the DMK, the TMC, the AAP, the Samajwadi Party and others continued their protest. They were demanding to allow Leader of Opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad to speak, but the presiding officer asked the suspended MPs to first leave the House. The suspended members did not pay heed to the chair's direction and started sloganeering. As pandemonium prevailed unabated, the House was adjourned till 9 a.m. tomorrow. 8 Rajya Sabha members have been suspended from the upper house for the remaining part of the monsoon session for their unruly behaviour during the passage of 2 farm bills yesterday. They are Congress members Rajiv Satav, Ripun Bora and Nazir Hussain, TMC members Derek O'Brien and Dola Sen, CPIM MPs KK Ragesh and E.A. Karim, and Aam Aadmi Party MP Sanjay Singh. Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs V. Muralidharan moved a motion to suspend these members for creating ruckus and disrespecting the chair by their unruly behaviour. The motion was accepted with voice vote and Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu announced the names of the suspended members. Mr. Naidu also condemned yesterday's incident, terming it unacceptable and condemnable. He also said that the incident has tarnished the image of the upper house and it was a bad day. Mr. Naidu also said some members used unparliamentary language and threatened Deputy Chairman Harivansh. Mr. Naidu added that the agitating members also defied social distancing and other COVID norms. The chairman rejected the no-confidence motion moved by 46 opposition members against the deputy chairman, citing that the notice was not in proper format. He said it does not fulfill the requirement of 14 days notice period for no-confidence motion. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi today condemned the opposition for disrupting the proceedings in Rajya Sabha over suspension of 8 members of the upper house. Talking to reporters outside Parliament, Mr. Joshi said, when the chairman names a member, they have to leave the house. But the suspended opposition members defied the ruling of the chair. He alleged that it proves that opposition has no trust in democracy. Meanwhile, suspended MPs along with other members of the Congress, the TMC, the SP, the Left, the TRS, the DMK and others staged a protest in front of the Gandhi statue in the Parliament premises. They were questioning the suspension of MPs, terming it as undemocratic. Congress leader Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary said they will protest to restore the status quo of the suspended members in Rajya Sabha.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said that the passage of the 2 landmark farm bills in the Rajya Sabha has cemented the strong foundation for Atmanirbhar agriculture. He said that the bills will create modern and world-class agriculture ecosystem in the country, which will benefit the consumers, wholesalers, processors and startups apart from farmers. In an article published in an Ahmedabad-based leading Gujarati daily, Mr. Singh said that India's position in the world market will become stronger with self-reliant farmers. He said that it will also help to take one step forward to fulfill our dreams to increase the farmers' income, prosperity and thus to make them entrepreneurs. He congratulated Prime Minister Modi for his vision to identify the real potential of Indian agriculture. More than 1 crore migrant workers returned to their home states during the lockdown and COVID-19 pandemic. This was stated by the Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Santosh Kumar Gangwar, in a written reply in the Rajya Sabha today. He informed that maximum 32.5 lakh migrant workers returned to Uttar Pradesh, followed by more than 15 lakh to Bihar and 13.84 lakh to West Bengal. In Ladakh region, India and China are engaged in commander-level talks for the 6th time at Moldo on the Chinese side of the line of actual control. The co-commanders are sitting across the table after a gap of 1.5 months to discuss the border situation. More from our correspondent.
In the backdrop of meetings between Defence Minister and the External Affairs Minister of India with their Chinese counterpart at Shanghai Cooperation Organization in Moscow and high-powered China Study Group meeting recently, today's 6th commander-level meeting is seen as important development. Along with the Fire and Fury Corps Commander Lieutenant General Harinder Singh, the East Asia Joint Secretary of External Affairs Ministry Mr. Navin Srivastava has joined in today's meeting at Moldo. This is a significant development as far as the talks between India and China to arrive into certain implementable decisions to restore the status quo ante of April in the region. This also shows the intent of India to restore the peace and tranquility at the line of actual control. However, India would insist the PLA to vacate from all friction points and the new ones as well. Talks began at 10 in the morning following the military and the COVID protocols. Ramesh Chandra, All India Radio News, Leh.
In Maharashtra, the death toll in Vivandi building collapse has risen to 10. The casualties include 7 children. 11 people, including a 4-year-old boy, were rescued. However, 25 persons are still feared to be trapped in the debris. The building, situated at Patel compound of Narpoli near Dhamankar Nanka in Vivandi in Thane district near Mumbai, collapsed early this morning. The building has 40 flats with 150 occupants. 3 fire vehicles of Vivandi Fire Station, staff of Thane Disaster Management Department, Thane Disaster Response Force, 15 personnel, and a contingent of National Disaster Response Force, 30 personnel, are conducting rescue operations. President and Prime Minister have expressed anguish at the loss of lives in the building collapse at Vivandi in Maharashtra. 2 migrant workers were killed in a blast which occurred at a quarry located near Malayathur in Ernakulam district in the early hours today. The gunpowder stored in the building exploded and 2 workers staying in the building were killed. The building was completely destroyed following the blast. The killed workers are hailing from Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveils 9 national highway projects worth 14,000 crore rupees in Bihar. Says over 6 lakh villages will be connected by optic fiber network. Government committed for MSP to farmers, says Prime Minister. Takes opposition to task for misleading country on farm bills. 8 Rajya Sabha MPs suspended for remaining part of the monsoon session for their unruly behavior in Parliament. India-China commander-level talks underway at Moldo in Chinese side of the line of actual control. In Maharashtra, death toll in Vivandi building collapse rises to 10. President and Prime Minister express anguish at the loss of lives. COVID recovery rate crosses 80% in the country. And in tennis, Novak Djokovic to clash with Diogo Schwartzman in the men's finals, Simona Halep to take on Karolina Pliskova in the women's final of the Italian Open. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
All India Radio presents World News. News and views from across the globe. What happened? What is up next? The newsmakers and the highlights of the day. Every day at 10:20 p.m. in the night. On 100.1 FM, All India Radio. In Uttar Pradesh, many historical monuments across the state, including the world-famous Taj Mahal in Agra, were opened for general public today after a gap of more than 6 months. Strict guidelines are being followed for tourists to contain the spread of corona infection. More from our correspondent.
After being shut for tourists for around 6 months, many monuments like famous small and big Imambara of Lucknow, Sarnath Museum of Varanasi opened today for general public. One of the 7 wonders of the world, the Taj Mahal and Agra Qila, also reopened from today. The Archaeological Survey of India officials have made all necessary arrangements for the opening. Adhering to COVID guidelines, not more than 5,000 visitors will be allowed in a day in Taj Mahal. Also, group photographs are not at all encouraged. Ticket windows are closed and only online booking of tickets is available. Only 5 persons at a time are allowed in mausoleum area and only digital mode of payment will be allowed at parking and other places. After thermal scanning, tourists will be allowed to enter the Taj Mahal. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the Indian Army organized a Shikara race yesterday in the world-famous Dal Lake in Srinagar to promote tourism in the newly carved Union Territory. Around 15 Shikaras participated in the competition. Commanding Officer, 20 Rashtriya Rifles of the Indian Army, Colonel Praveen Kumar said, Shikara race is an event which we organize every year, and boat race is also being organized for children. He said that following the outbreak of the pandemic, the event could not be organized till date. However, as the situation has improved now, the Shikara race is being organized in order to promote tourism in the Kashmir Valley. The winners of the race thanked the army for organizing the event.
In partial modification of Unlock 4 guidelines in compliance with the directives of the Union Ministry of Home Affairs, the Punjab government has allowed the students of class 9 to 12 to visit their schools in areas outside the containment zones only on voluntary basis for taking guidance from their teachers. However, this permission would be subject to the written consent of their parents, guardians from today as per standard operating procedures SOPs issued by the Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare on September 8th. In Assam, educational institutes reopened today after a gap of 6 months. Classes for 9th and 12th standard students were held today with a maximum attendance of 20 students per class. The students had to carry no objection certificate of their guardians for attending classes. Only 50% of teachers and non-teaching staff are attending schools today. More from our correspondent.
9th and 12th standard students will attend classes on Monday, Wednesday and Friday, while the rest 3 days are reserved for 10th and 11th classes. For every class, a maximum 20 students will be allowed to attend, and classes will be held in 2 batches. The students must carry the no objection certificate of the guardians for attending classes. On the other hand, only 50% of teachers and non-teaching staff can attend schools. Thermal screening of students and staff have been done today before attending classes. Random tests of students and teachers will also be done by the health department in schools. Manas Pratim Sharma, AR News, Guwahati.
India has occupied the top position in the world in terms of total recoveries of COVID patients. The Health Ministry said India's recoveries constitute 19% of the total global recoveries. It said more than 43,96,000 COVID patients have recovered till date. The total global recoveries of USA is 18.70%, Brazil 16.90% and Russia 4%. The ministry said that the country's recovery rate among COVID-19 patients has reached 80.12%. During the last 24 hours, more than 93,000 COVID patients have recovered. The constantly increasing recoveries have ensured that the actual caseload of the country has reduced and currently comprises only 18.28% of the total positive cases. India's COVID-19 tally has crossed 54 lakh with 86,961 new infections being reported in a day. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is over 10 lakh. The ministry said effective implementation of Centre's strategic and graded test, track, treat approach has led to higher recoveries and lower fatalities. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.60%, which is one of the lowest globally. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy today launched 3,401 mobile public distribution outlets in the state. The Amma mobile ration shops, as they are called, mainly serve families in remote, hilly and far-flung areas. For a full-fledged ration shop, a minimum number of eligible beneficiary families are made mandatory.
In our series on Gandhian philosophy, today we bring you a report on Mahatma Gandhi's ideas about cleanliness and good habits. He pointed its close relationship to good health. He had said that no one should spit on the streets as it is harmful. Our correspondent reports that Gandhiji strongly emphasized observing cleanliness in lavatories.
Gandhiji had said that sanitation is more important than independence. He made cleanliness and sanitation an integral part of Gandhian way of living. His dream was total sanitation for all. Mahatma Gandhi said cleanliness is most important for physical well-being and a healthy environment. He said it is essential for everyone to learn about cleanliness, hygiene, sanitation and the various diseases that are caused due to poor hygienic conditions. Gandhiji said habits learned at a young age get embedded into one's personality. With Dipendra Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
In sports, world number 1 Novak Djokovic is set to clash with Diego Schwartzman of Argentina in the men's singles final of Italian Open today. In the semi-final match, Schwartzman defeated Canadian Denis Shapovalov 6-4, 5-7, 7-6, while Djokovic reached the final after a 7-5, 6-3 victory over Casper Ruud of Norway. In women's singles, top-seeded Simona Halep of Romania will take on Czech Karolina Pliskova in the championship match this evening. Chasing her first title in Rome, Simona Halep reached her third Italian Open final after beating Garbiñe Muguruza 6-3, 4-6, 6-4 in the semi-final. In IPL cricket, Sunrisers Hyderabad will take on Royal Challengers Bangalore at the Dubai International Stadium this evening. Last night, Delhi Capitals beat Kings 11 Punjab in the Super Over at the Dubai International Stadium.
The News Services Division of All India Radio in its bilingual live phone-in program today will bring you a special discussion program on COVID-19. Dr. Balbir Singh, cardiologist, Max Hospital, will participate in the discussion. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1800-115767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444 and post queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, terrorists today attacked a road opening party of CRPF in Naugam area of Central Kashmir's Srinagar district. Official sources said terrorists fired upon 110 battalion of CRPF party. However, in this incident, no loss of life or injury has been reported. Meanwhile, the whole area has been cordoned off by security forces to nab the terrorists.
In Tamil Nadu, the Vaigai Dam in Theni district will be opened for irrigation on coming Sunday. The State Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy has said in a statement that water will be released from the dam for 120 days. It is expected to benefit more than 1 lakh acres of agricultural lands in Madurai, Dindigal and Shivaganga districts. The low-pressure area formed over the northeast Bay of Bengal and its neighbourhood yesterday remained stationary, says a weather bulletin by the Indian Met Department in Chennai. Under its influence, several areas in Tamil Nadu and Puducherry experienced heavy to very heavy rains in the last 24 hours. Avalanche in the Nilgiris district received the maximum of 18 centimeter rain, followed by Upper Bhavani 12 centimeter. In the next 24 hours, a few places in the Nilgiris and Coimbatore are expected to get heavy to very heavy rain, while other districts are said to receive light to moderate rain with the possibility of heavy rain at isolated places. Fishermen have been asked not to venture into the sea at the Gulf of Mannar and off the coast of Kerala, Lakshadweep, Karnataka, southern Bay of Bengal and southwest Arabian Sea for the next few days.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for the day. National capital Delhi is expected to have partly cloudy sky. Minimum temperature recorded was 27 degrees Celsius and maximum is expected to be 37 degrees. In Mumbai, there will be generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Minimum temperature was 26 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 32 degrees. Chennai will have partly cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The temperature is likely to hover between 27 and 35 degrees Celsius. Kolkata is likely to witness thunderstorm with rain. The minimum temperature in the metropolis was around 28 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be 31 degrees. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature was 23 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while the maximum will be around 37 degrees. The city will have mainly clear sky. In Srinagar, the minimum temperature was 9 degrees, while the maximum will be around 29 degrees. The city will have mainly clear sky. Ladakh also will have mainly clear sky. The temperature is likely to hover between 11 and 25 degrees Celsius. In Gilgit, the temperature is likely to hover between 15 and 29 degrees Celsius. It will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. In Muzaffarabad, there will be mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was 16 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 36 degrees. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 23 and 35 degrees Celsius. The city will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder lightning. In Hyderabad, the minimum temperature was 22 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 31 degrees. The city will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature recorded in Ahmedabad was around 26 degrees and the maximum is likely to be around 35 degrees. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveils 9 national highway projects worth 14,000 crore rupees in Bihar. says over 6 lakh villages across the country will be connected by optic fibre network. Government committed for MSP to farmers, says Prime Minister, takes opposition to task for misleading the country on farm bills. 8 Rajya Sabha MPs suspended for remaining part of monsoon session for their unruly behaviour in Parliament. India-China commander-level talks underway at Moldo in Chinese side of line of actual control. In Maharashtra, death toll in Vivandi building collapse rises to 10. President and Prime Minister express anguish at the loss of lives. COVID recovery rate crosses 80% in the country. And in tennis, Novak Djokovic to clash with Diego Schwartzman in men's final of the Italian Open. And with that, we end the midday news.